Hi guys, my name is Heather and I'm here to tell my story. I wanted to say that some of the things you hear may be scary and not part of your everyday life. Hell, it may go against all of your views. But please, 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 please be kind to everybody in the comment section below and be kind to me as I am still healing. And this is just a way for me to heal because for 11 years, actually longer than 11 years now, I have been silent. I have kept things to myself because I found in the beginning that nobody would listen to me. So please be very kind to everybody in the comments, but also to myself. Let's see. If you are someone that is living with a child like I am going to talk about, just know that you are not alone. I am here for you as much as I can be. And please, I hope that you find something in my videos that can help you. But number one thing, reach out. Don't ever shut up. Keep talking. Keep making those police reports and just keep moving forward. Alrighty, so with all of that said, this is my view of my life with 11 years with living with 2 kids that killed or could potentially kill. I wanted to make that clear. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below. I will go through them and I will do a question and answer video, but I am going to do chunks of my life at a time, so it's going to be a whole entire video series. There is so much to talk about and I want to start from the beginning. So I'm going to start my makeup and I'm going to tell you things from the beginning. Alright, so we got the kids, let's see. The girl was born in 2005 and the boy was born in 2003. I'm going to start at when I met everybody and stuff. I think it'll be, I guess, make more sense if I did that. And this is not working. So, April 14th, 2007. That is my birthday, just so you know. I went out with a bunch of friends to the karaoke bar. And, we had like almost all of the tables to ourselves over on one side of the bar, and I've seen these 2 girls that were sitting at a table by themselves, the only table that was left in the bar, and I felt really bad. So I went across the bar and I asked them if they would like to come and have some cake and come and sit with me. And they said yes, and they came over and they sat with us. One of them was bio mom. One of them happened to end up being one of my best friends for 13 years. So that was something I wanted to clear up of how I originally met bio mom. I had not met bio dad at this time. So they sat with us, we exchanged numbers and things, and we started texting and stuff back and forth. And when we would go to the karaoke bar on the weekends, we would, you know, text each other and then end up going together to the karaoke bar. I got really close with my best friend, not as close with bio mom, but I ended up finding out that bio mom was living with her 2 kids and in a car. They were living in a car. Doesn't this look crazy? Anyways, they were living in a car, and I had a 2-story house at the time, and it was just me and my twins. And so I had asked for if she would like to move into my basement, because in my basement I had like 3 bedrooms and a walk-in closet and really nice bathroom and vanity and laundry and everything else. So I asked if she wanted to move in. She said yes. She moved in and they lived there. I see. So the little girl was about 1.5 years and the little boy was like 3. A lot of these I am guessing because it has been so long. Anyways, they moved in. I noticed right off the bat that she was very aggressive when it, not as of like beating on them that I ever seen, but more so on verbally abusive, like always telling them that she hated them, always telling them that they were fuck-ups and she didn't, you know, want anything to do with them and that they looked like their dad. And I kept telling her, you know, like, you can't talk to kids like that. You're making me really uncomfortable in my own house. And if you do not want the kids, then take them to their dad. So she did. She ended up taking them to their dad, and she would only have them like 2 times a week, and she seemed to be a lot happier that way, which kudos for her. Bad thing is she ended up severely trashing my house, and I had to kick her out of my house. And after that point, me and her never were friends again. Briefly, we had moments where she would come to like the kids' birthday parties because her kids were friends with my kids, but really other than that, we really didn't do anything together. So down the road a ways after I kicked her out, so we were friends for like maybe like 4 months, if you could call it friends. She was really quite full of lies. She was always like, this person raped me, and then she would go and hang out with that person. Like, she would do that quite often, and I realized that very early on. She would tell me that the dad wouldn't pay her child support. You know, she just would tell me lots of lies and bullshit. And the other girl that I met at the same day that ended up being my best friend for 13 years, she told me that she was one of those people that always said they were going to kill themselves, just had really severe mental health problems. Like, we all in the friend group knew that she had severe mental illness, that she was not getting help for, and that everybody knew that she was abusing prescription drugs. She would never admit it, but everybody knew it. You know, like, everybody in town knew it, the cops knew it, everybody just knew that she had drug issues. She would say that she had pancreatitis, but then she would go out to the bar and she would get like drunker and shit. Like, she was just always making up stories and things, and it was just like, that's just who she was. Well, anyways, so about 6 months after that, I got a message from her mom, because I stayed friends with her mom and her sister. And her mom had wrote me and had asked me if I was still single. And I had said yes, and she said, I have somebody that I want you to meet, kind of like a blind date, I guess, situation. And can you meet tonight at the karaoke bar? I was headed there anyways, because me and my best friend were going there. So it was like not going to be really like an inconvenience. I wasn't really into the whole blind date thing. It wasn't for me. But we were going to be there anyways, nonetheless. So I went there. Ended up meeting this person that she wanted to set me up with, which happened to be Bio Dad. So her mom was hooking me up with Bio Dad, pretty much. Anyways, weird situation. I didn't end up hooking up with him. He bought me a drink. He ended up going off and dancing with a bunch of girls. He was drunker than shit. It was whatever. We were young. Me and my friend ended up leaving. I mean, that's a whole nother story. But me and him became friends. He actually ended up becoming one of my best friends. And him and I were friends for a year. During this time, he only would get his kids when, like, so Bio Mom decided that she wanted the child support. And so she took the kids back, I guess. And she was living in a motel or wherever she could flop at the time. Dad was working out of town a week on, week off. He was, you know, dealing with alcohol issues at that time anyways. But she would only let Dad see the kids, I guess, when she was just needed a babysitter, or when she was sick of crap with the kids. Then she would be like, you know, you need to come pick these kids up. You know, she just was a very odd person. So then let me see here. Me and him didn't start dating for about a year after we met. So we ended up deciding that we really liked each other, and we ended up dating. We hung out so much before then, you know, not just me and him, but like everybody in our little group hung out together so much that just being around each other all the time, we ended up really liking each other and ended up dating and getting more serious. Before we started dating, he had moved into a townhouse, and I was living in my house, and she of course had nowhere to go again with the kids. And so I had talked him into letting her stay at his house and part of his townhouse. He had a 3-story townhouse. Until she got on her feet. Well, that was a freaking mess. But, you know, he could not stand her. And the kids were so out of control. I'm not gonna lie, like, the kids were so out of control even when they were little. Even like when I knew them. So like 1.5 years, you know, 2 years old, 3 years old, they were completely out of control then. So I ended up moving into the townhouse with him. He stayed in the bottom floor, and then when his kids would come to visit, they would stay on the bottom floor. The middle floor was just like the kitchen, the living room, and a bathroom, and then the upstairs was where me and my twins would stay. And we were just roommating to save some money because he wasn't home for a week at a time. So I mean, I guess it just kind of made sense. Well, anyways, one of the times they had spent the night, he had his kids for the weekend because she was doing something. I don't remember what it was, but she was going somewhere doing something, needed him to take the kids. So it was a rarity that she ever let him really take the kids, unless she needed something. Well, he had the kids, and I remember hearing like noises in the house, and I went downstairs and everything was torn out of the pantry, out of the refrigerator, smashed all over the floor, everywhere. They took all of the DVDs out of the cases and threw them all over my house. So yeah, I'm gonna change my battery real quick and I'll be back. Oh my god, my battery completely died on just a regular camera. I don't even have my cell phone going, so that was interesting. But anyways, so they completely trashed my house. And so, like, you know, when they're kids, you make more exceptions for things and you look past a lot of things. And so that's pretty much what I did. I was just like pissed off because most of the DVDs were broke. They went through my purse. But it's like, you chalk it up to like kid bullshit. You're like, okay, they got into stuff, it's whatever. There's nothing you can really do about it. He cleaned it up. I just remember, like, one time we decided that we were going to go to Disneyland. Take all 4 kids to Disneyland. You know, it's a magical place. Everybody's happy at Disneyland. So we didn't have like tons and tons of money. You know, that's 4, 5, 6 of us. But we took the kids. We were like, we're going to take the weekend. We're going to drive from Wyoming to California. Take the kids to Disneyland. Whatever. So we decided, like, what are ways that we can save money to make this possible? You know, because we're not rich, but, you know, we want our kids to still be able to do fun things and have fun experiences. The kids were, the 3 girls were 2. The boy, let's see, he was 5. 4 or 5. Because the kids are about 2 years apart. The 2 kids, my 2 stepkids. So anyways, we decided to pack coolers and take our food down with us because that will save money. And, you know, kids at that age don't really care if you go out to eat and all that fun stuff. So we packed 2 coolers and off we went. So we're traveling as we go along, you know, we're stopping. We stopped for, you know, we ate breakfast before we left. We fed them lunch on the side of the road, and we got them snacks and stuff. At the same time, we got them snacks out. And so we get all the way to California. We get to the motel and we go to unload our coolers, you know, because one cooler's got dry stuff, the other one's got cold stuff. We need to get ice and stuff on the cold stuff, like hot dogs, you know, things like that. And when we go to get the coolers out, they were empty. For the most part, they were empty. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, where is everything, you know? Like, where is this? Where is the crackers? Where, you know? So, as we're getting the kids out of their car seats, the one boy, he was just in a booster seat. And the little girl was in, like, a car seat. anyways, we noticed that there was wrappers aplenty all over the floor. The boy had, and we can't even figure out when it happened. So like the, you know how the seats are, and then the one seat flips down, and then you have the seats over here. That's how we had it, because we had the coolers pushed up to make room for suitcases and everything. But he was just reaching over and pulling stuff out, and him and his sister just sat there and ate everything. So that was one indication that, you know, like, what the hell? But we just kept chalking things up, you guys, to like, kids do stupid shit. You know, if you're a parent, you just know that kids do stuff, and a lot of times you're just like, I don't understand. You know, but kids do stupid stuff. So we decide to sleep that day, and that we are going to get the kids up in the morning, have a full day at Disneyland. We spent a lot for these tickets. We wanted to have a whole entire day. Actually, we wanted to have 2 whole days at Disneyland, but we had also planned to take them to SeaWorld. That was another thing that we decided. So trying to think like where we were at in Disneyland, like where was the first place we had went. I remember, where was it at? Bugs Life 3D. I think it was like the 3D thing. We had went to Bugs Life 3D movie, and we were so excited about this 3D movie. And we get in there, and oh my god. So they both start screaming and kicking things and just being really bad. If you don't know it, I don't know if it's still that way, but when you go into these 3D movies, because of the effects, they kind of sort of lock you in. You know, they don't want you going in and out. They kind of lock you in. So we couldn't get out. We're stuck in there with these kids that are just screaming and being horrible, and we don't know why. My husband's just mortified. We then get out of there. We're like going through, just walking through like where Mickey Mouse and stuff is, and they're just being horrible. They're just being horrid, like the worst, like screaming, throwing fits, just running from us. We did have, because the twins at the time were the younger, and they only had the strollers that you could rent that had only 2 seats, and we had put the twins in there initially, but we ended up putting his 2 kids in there, and my 2 kids walked because they were being so freaking horrible. In fact, like the little girl was throwing such a fit. She was throwing herself around, like as we were walking on the railroad, like by the railroad tracks down Disneyland. I've only been there once, so I don't know what all the places are called. But she was throwing such a fit, she threw herself over backwards and like whacked her side of her face on the railroad tracks. So I look at my husband and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he was like, yeah, me neither. He's like, do you just want to go home? I'm like, yeah, I just want to go home. Like, I'm done. I'm not having any fun. My kids don't look like they're having any fun. I'm like, I just kind of want to just go home. And so we packed up. Mind you, we spent like 2 days tickets, but we were like, screw this. And we went home. All the way back home. We get home at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was just like, I'm so done. We're not ever doing that again. That was the worst experience ever. So then, I'm trying to think of like all the little things that, clues that we should have seen in the beginning. Right around this time, Bio Mom was like, she put a restraining order on Dad. And she didn't have enough evidence in court, but, excuse me. Dad was just like, put it on. I don't care. I don't mess with her. I don't really need to be around her other than to see my kids. Put it on me, please. So they put it on. Well, she would literally come to his house, knock on the door, start a fight with him on his porch, and call the cops and be like, I have a restraining order on him, and here he is, trying to get him arrested. She did it all the time. So when she found out that that wasn't going to work for her, like the cop isn't going to arrest him for being at his house, she ended up just moving out of town in the middle of the night. But right before, actually I think it was right after she moved, but we didn't know she moved. We had gotten, and I have the paperwork actually somewhere. She had wrote her sister and told her sister that she had a plan to murder my husband. And she had wrote it all out. So her sister asked questions like, how are you going to do it? And she's like, with a gun. And her sister's like, well, you don't have a gun. And she's like, oh yeah, I have a gun. It's right here in the closet. And like wrote this whole thing out. And we turned it in. Like the sister called us. We met up with her. She showed us the whole conversation. The cops had her printed out the whole fucking shit of it. But then the cops didn't do anything with it. You know, I don't have words. Like, I don't have words what is wrong with our police station, but it's whatever. We had proof and nothing happened. So then, she ended up moving to Billings, Montana, and we did not know where she went. Finally, she had been there quite some time. Finally, I can't remember. I think it was, I want to say it was her mom wrote us first. Her sister was still talking to me and telling me a lot of things. But I do believe it was her mom that wrote us first. And she sent pictures of my husband's kids. And they were emaciated, skinny. The little girl had orange hair, chopped all over. Her hair was just chopped up. And the little boy had blue hair. And it was shaved. Like, buzz shaved as much as you could, but it was blue. And they looked really skinny. And her mom was like, you need to fight for custody. These kids are really super skinny. She's not taking care of them. We were just up there in Billings. And, you know, the kids look very unhappy. They're getting kicked out of school. So my husband started with contacting the school. And he just wanted to know, like, what was going on. Get, like, more info and stuff. Like, find out where they were at. Everything, you know, just being a dad. And they were like, yeah, they're being kicked out of the school because they are not in district. They barely show up. The kids are failing school. The little girl, she was in kindergarten and she was very aggressive. She was throwing chairs at the teacher. I guess she was calling the teacher some pretty horrific names from what I understand. And the little boy was having meltdown after meltdown. But in these report cards and stuff that they had sent, it showed that the little boy was seeing a doctor. That he was referred to see a doctor, or the school said he had to go to the doctor. I don't remember what that part said. But anyways, he was seeing a psychiatrist. So, and it had the name of the doctor. So my husband contacted the doctor. And they sent the medical reports to him. And we looked through them, and it stated in there that the little boy was extremely too skinny. That the doctor said if he did not gain, I think it was like a pound before his next appointment, it was that he was going to turn her in because the little boy was too skinny. They were trying to do testing and all of this stuff to figure out what was going on with him. They weren't sure if it was like ADHD, ODD, like the doctor, when my husband had talked to the doctor, he was just like, at this time, I just don't know what it is. He doesn't fit the criteria fully for this. He doesn't fit the criteria fully for that. There is huge problems going on where he can barely get through a day of school. We are trying these medications out to see if these help him in any way. And they had him on like clonidine and fluoxetine. I'm just a bunch of different things they had him on. And you know, some of them are pretty serious meds, pretty strong. You know, if a kid's just being disruptive in class and just has like ADHD or something, they wouldn't really go that far on meds. But regardless, it's in the report that he put him on these meds, and they were trying to see, they were in the process like adjusting things and seeing what would help him. He had been back for only one visit per the report, so there wasn't like a lot of information on there. So anyways, we decided to fight for custody of the kids. That's when the whole thing started, is because mom and sister were telling us that, you know, the kids looked really skinny when she went up there. You know, she's seen a lot of problems. So we started fighting for custody, and we ended up winning custody. So she was supposed to bring the kids to us, and she didn't show up. Of course. She didn't show up. My lawyer has, or not my lawyer, my husband's lawyer has to put in, and we had a guardian ad litem and all of that stuff for the kids. You know, it was a big court thing. It wasn't just, you know, our lawyer and that was it, whatever. But the guardian ad litem had stated that, you know, the kids didn't want to be with her. They wanted to be with dad, whatever. So she doesn't show up to court or show up to drop off the kids. So they get a warrant for her arrest, telling her she has within 48 hours to, or told her lawyer that she had 48 hours to drop them off or she would be arrested. And she had to drive down from Billings, because we had drove all the way to Billings to get them, and, you know, of course she wouldn't give them up. So now she has to come all the way down from Billings to Wyoming to drop them off. And she does it because, you know, she's all about herself. She don't want to go to jail. And we were expecting the kids to throw a lot of fits. We were actually really prepared for that. We were thinking like it was going to be pretty dramatic, whatever. Nope, the kids walked to the car, no tears, no nothing, jump in the car like, hey guys, what's up? You know, here's all of our stuff. We're living with you now. And it was done. Like, there was not an ounce of drama. None. So, that is how we ended up getting the children, is because, you know, mom just couldn't get her shit together. And, you know, we knew this for years, because obviously living in your car, getting your prescription drug is more important than taking care of your kids. Like, was how she was just living. You know, she didn't have a lot of, I mean, and there was things that went on, guys. Like, for instance, when I was still friends with her, she was living with her mom. She wrote me one time and she was like, if something happens to me, will you take care of my kids? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess. Like, wouldn't they go to their dad? And she was like, well, I just want to know that the kids are going to be taken care of. I was like, do you plan on something like going on? And she was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna kill myself because I just don't want to be alive anymore. So I called the cops. You guys, I called the cops. They went to her house. I am not kidding you. The cop calls me back and says, quote unquote, there was nothing going on. She was there with a guy and they were barbecuing. They were barbecuing, guys. Barbecuing, you know? She's telling me she's going to kill herself, and the cop goes there and she is all smiling and happy and barbecuing. Another time, our other friend, the one that I met on my birthday, she, I guess, bio mom, had wrote my friend and told her she was going to kill herself. This is all within like the same time frame, guys. She had wrote her and said that she was going to kill herself. My friend happened to be at the movies. And I guess, okay, so my friend that I was friends with for 13 years, she was my best friend. She was friends with them since she was like 8 or 9 or something years old. So she had known them all of her life pretty much. And she told me, she was like, she does this stuff so much that nobody believes her, and legitly, like, she's like, I finished watching, we were at the movies, I finished watching my movies, and then when I got done, I called the cops on her, like I always do, and they called the cops, and they went over there, and she was asleep. I guess the cop said, you know, he had told my friend, you know, we go over here so much to her house, but it's not a priority anymore. Because she's usually just sleeping or she's hanging out. Like it's a game to her. And so when like I was talking to my husband about this, my ex-husband, and I was like, so did this kind of stuff like go on when you were with her? And he was like, oh, let me tell you. He was like, I would come home from work and he's like, in my closet there would be like a bar at the top to hang like the shirts, and then a bar at the bottom that you hang your pants and stuff, like your jeans or whatever. And he said, like, as soon as I walk in the house, she would like she would like have a belt around her neck on the bottom where the jeans go, that's like barely from the floor, and she would like try to be lifting her feet up to hang herself. And he's like, in the beginning, like I used to freak out. And he said, but she did this stuff so much that it just, like he said, like it came to the point where I was just like, you know what, close the closet, get on with it, because she did it so much. Like she cried wolf so many times, I guess. Well, when it happened to me, I was new to the game. I hadn't experienced any of this stuff yet. So me, I was all like, oh my God, you know, and me, I have such a big heart. Sometimes it's like dangerous because I'm just like, oh my God, she's gonna kill herself. Call the cops. Literally ripped my kids out of bed before, you know, like called the cops, ripped my kids out of bed, started hauling ass over there. When I get a call from the cops, because I guess they were already out that way, so they were beating me. She was on the outskirts of town, and it took me a minute to get my kids out of bed and stuff, because they were babies. So anyways, I ripped my kids out of bed. Like, I legitimately thought something was wrong with her. Like, I thought she was going to kill herself or she was severely depressed, and here she's just barbecuing. Don't you know? Just barbecuing. Well, she did this a lot. Like, I wasn't friends with her very long, and I'm sure it would have happened a lot more. But this stuff happened all the time in the very short amount of time that I was friends with her. I have police reports, and I can show you those too, which I don't know why you'd want to see them, but I have them, of all the times she was going to kill herself. Because when we were fighting for custody, those were some of the things we brought up, was that her inconsistency. And like, one of the first things the kids told us on the very first day, and I'm going to get to that all in another video about from then on, my crazy life. But the kids told me like they knew how to smoke and they knew how to drink alcohol. And like that was everyday life for them. But I am going to get to more in the next videos. Tomorrow I will be doing another video. I don't know if I will be getting ready or be doing something else, but I just cannot sit in front of a camera and talk. I don't know how anybody does that. I have to be doing something. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them below. But tomorrow we are going to get into this, but everybody needs the beginning story of how we all met, how everybody knew each other, how we all got together, etc., because people keep asking me these questions. So ask the questions down below and I will get to you guys, I promise. But for now, I have to go and get my day started. You guys have a good day. Bye now.